This is Keep It Electric, episode 38. My name is Tremayne person. At the time of this recording, it is Monday, June 3rd. The Mariners have the day off after an absolutely brilliant homestand, winning 6 out of 7 games. They are still sitting in first place in the AL West with a record of 34 wins and 27 losses. 4 games above the reigning World Series champions, Texas Rangers. Earlier this season, I mentioned the Mariners' rough schedule at the beginning of the season. I thought that if they were above 500 at the beginning of June, you could book their postseason. Yes, we still have a long way to go, but the schedule technically softens a little bit in June. I expect them to hold steady and firmly continue positioning themselves as the team to beat in the AL West. Welcome to Seattle, Victor Robles. The M's agreed to terms on a contract with the outfielder today. He's a much-needed defensive outfielder, strong arm, really good defender, has really good pop at the plate against left-handed pitchers, not so great against the righties. Robles was once a top prospect in the Washington Nationals system. He won a World Series with them in 2019, played really well that year and during that postseason as well. But otherwise, it's safe to say he never really met the expectations that were set in front of him. In other words, like what Jarred Kelenic was to us for a few seasons, Robles was the right-handed version of that for the Nationals for like 7 years. A much-needed change of scenery for Robles is probably what's necessary. He's definitely going to be in a reserve role here in Seattle, maybe platoon with left-handed bats like Dominic Canzone and Luke Raley. He has a ton of speed. He'd be a great pinch runner for Mitch Haniger, late game substitutions, and he's a nice to have. Jonathan Clase, again, he was optioned to the minors on June 1st. He wasn't getting a lot of looks at the plate in the most recent games, so Clase would be better served taking more hacks at the plate in Tacoma, and then we could have a veteran like Victor Robles here in Seattle who can kind of do the same things Clase can do speed-wise and definitely defensively. Now, one thing I will say about this is it doesn't necessarily fix what's going on with the Mariners offensively. We're 7 games above 500, but have only outscored our opponents by 7 total runs. They're 28th in batting average, lead the league in strikeouts, 27th in runs scored, 27th in OBP. The list goes on and on when it comes down to the Mariners offense. It's just scuffling. It's interesting the Mariners scored a minimum of 5 runs in the last 3 games immediately after firing Brant Brown. I don't know if that is a coincidence or it's just getting lucky playing the Angels, who are not playing great baseball right now. Robles doesn't fix any of those problems that the Mariners seem to be having at the plate. Guys like Garver and Polanco are still scuffling, which to me says that it's still an organizational issue. It doesn't really make sense to me to make moves for guys to reduce the amount of strikeouts only for them to show up and immediately start striking out like the rest of the Mariners that we've grown accustomed to. However, with a record like 20-1, when the team scores 5 runs or more, you've clearly found your magic number, so it's time to put up or shut up. The Mariners have a great opportunity in front of them to keep the AL West Championship firmly in their grasp. But when it comes to the postseason, the Orioles and the Yankees are still a level above us. Chatter about Mariners trades are starting to come out again. I'm having a hard time buying in, as we all now know that good hitters are expensive. But who knows? Maybe the additional splash in ownership, or with the additional splash in ownership, there will be funds allocated to gathering more talent on the roster. The Mariners start a 3-game set tomorrow against the 24-37 Oakland A's. Yes, they're 13 games under 500 and yet performing better than anyone thought that they were. Their pitching isn't great, but their lineup also isn't anything to sneeze at. It's a series the Mariners should definitely win. I'd love to see a sweep, but I'm expecting them to take 2 out of 3. Kirby is 3-0 against Oakland in Oakland. He'll face off against Mitch Spence, who's also looking really well this year. He's sporting a 3.52 ERA. The A's will go on to face Gilbert and Brian Wu, who have also been looking pretty great this year. Look, let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, okay? May was a busy month for me. It happens. But I'm back in the driver's seat, and I'll be back to talk to you about this series against the A's. Until then, keep it electric. Go Mariners.